Hello and welcome everybody. Welcome to OzByDrone. I'm Greg and he is Grumpy.
I'm not John. Yeah, that's right. I'm not John.
Welcome, Grumps. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. You know, everything said and done, I'm doing pretty good. Just been chilling this week, you know.
Yeah, chilling. I hope you're not too cold.
No, actually, no. It's been, the temperatures in our part of the world have been like, I think we're 93 the other day with 82% humidity. So, yeah, you know.
Okay.
That's why I'm staying inside under the air conditioner and chilling.
So maybe dripping a little bit.
Yeah, definitely when I go outside I am, that's for sure.
Yeah. So welcome everyone to OzByDrone. Today we're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to have a look at some news up the front. We've got a guest who's going to be joining us halfway through the news. His name's Chris. He's the tow truck guy. He makes videos about tow trucks and particularly cars getting towed out of the back lot in his data center. We're going to have a quick look at a little bit of that later and also talk to him about other things because he works in the computer industry and in tech support and all of those kind of things. And I want to have a chat to Chris about how do you provide good customer support to your customers. But we'll get to that later. Right now, as always, it's time for the news. And I didn't have my news button ready. There it is. As always, OzByDrone news is brought to you by AirData UAV. Is your drone healthy or is it about to surprise you on your next flight? Don't wait to find out. Discover under the hood information and review early signs of problems before you take off again. Use discount code OzByDrone20 for a 20% discount. There's a link in the description. Have you had a look at that yourself, by the way, Grumps? Have you had a look at
No, I haven't looked at it yet. Every week I say I'm going to do it. When I get through with this show, I go in there and I go to sleep and I forget. I wake up in a new world the next day.
There is a free version of AirData and it does the same as the bigger ones. Everyone here today should go and check it out and try it. It's a really good package to get some data out of your drone flights. So anyway, we'll get on with that a little bit later. Right now, our first news story, TerraDrone has been granted the first commercial beyond visual line of sight permit in Indonesia, making another first for the company. The company is now allowed to fly long-distance surveying, surveillance and patrol missions. The Ministry of Transportation of the Republic of Indonesia already has drone rules in place prohibiting pilots flying drones up to 25 kilos over crowds and all of the usual kind of things. This new permit for TerraDrone will allow the company to fly its drones in a special category with its own special set of rules and regulations. And this is interesting because we've got John Morrison, obviously our regular co-host, who himself has recently got beyond visual line of sight approval in Australia. But it's also in Canada, a drone company in Canada has also been granted a 1-year permit for beyond visual line of sight flights. Transport Canada is allowing in-flight data to use drones by day or by night anywhere in Canada, providing the risk to public safety is low. I don't know how they're going to certify that, but 2 countries where we're finally getting beyond visual line of sight flights permitted by the regulators.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm like you. How are they going to prove it? I guess if you go so many days, weeks, or years without a crash, dropping a drone on somebody's head, I guess they consider that safe.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you have a look, how many people do you know who fly beyond visual line of sight? Not that you encourage someone to break the law, but every day of the week,
yeah, somebody does.
Within 10 square kilometers from where you live, guaranteed right now there is someone flying beyond visual line of sight.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, look,
mine
interesting
to for me, and I can't see it, so.
Well, that's beyond visual line of binoculars for you.
Exactly.
Our second story, third story, let's go down there. I've got out of order. Transport Canada again has, in the next story, they've approved Fixar's revolutionary drone design for flights in Canada, meaning Fixar can start flying missions in controlled airspace and near people. So this is the particular drone that was probably referred to in the previous story. It uses a fixed angle rotor system, meaning fewer moving parts or potential points of failure.
Well, makes sense.
Is different, designed with purpose, ingenuity, and above all, a 360-degree understanding of industry requirements. This is Fixar, which stands for Fixed Angle Rotors. This patented feature allows our aircraft to take off and hover like a helicopter, then smoothly transition to fly like a plane. That means increased efficiency, range, and payload capacity. The fixed-angled rotors make transition from vertical to forward flight a breeze and allow Fixar to avoid the cumbersome requirements that plague many VTOL designs. Learning to program and fly this autonomous robot is a snap. The UAV can be assembled in under 3 minutes and is as simple to operate as a standard quadcopter.
I won't play the whole thing, but I just wanted people to have a look at that. It's a really interesting design for their aircraft. I mean, people have seen the rotation previously of the rotors itself, but is that rotating the frame, I think, is what's happening there?
Well, I think because it says fixed angled, I think it's just the angle of the props and which way they're, because you got the two forward ones are at an angle like this, which means they can pull, and the two back ones are angled in the same direction, but they're they can't see me on here because I'm watching. Anyways, they're reversed of that, and the wings are sort of in between the two angles, which makes it looks like it makes it more efficient in flying, because they can cut the power a little bit on it because it's going to have the lift on the wings, and then once they get to a position, they can hover.
Yeah. Look, it looks interesting nonetheless and something to keep an eye on. But have a look at that frame in the middle there. It seems to me that the frame may be rotating a little bit on the wing and on the main fuselage as well, where the props are attached to the frame. I think that's what they're doing. They're not changing the angle of attack of the props and the engines, but rather the frame on which they're mounted. I think that's what they're doing.
Yeah, I'd have to look at it again.
Yeah.
But
Look, interesting and something to keep an eye on. And as we move into our next one today. Now, this one is definitely interesting. In Washington or the States, who regulates how and where drones operate? The FAA is authorized to oversee navigable airspace. But what about property rights? How low is too low? Brent Skorup is a senior research fellow at the McCarter Center in George Mason University, and he has a look at this topic.
There's a debate brewing in aviation policy. Can states and cities regulate low-altitude drone flights and demarcate commercial drone highways? Or are drone routes more like commercial aviation, a federal matter? It's a pressing issue. Commercial drone operators are testing services like agriculture spraying, utility and rail inspections, and medical supplies deliveries. This technology is improving rapidly. A Chinese logistics company responding to the COVID-19 crisis reportedly made several tons worth of medical and emergency deliveries via drone in recent weeks. Closer to home, investors are funding drone startups with hopes of capturing some of the U.S. home medical delivery markets, which are worth tens of billions of dollars. But it's unclear how federal and state laws will interact in the low-altitude airspace that drones fly in, 200 feet or so above the ground. On the one hand, the Federal Aviation Administration is authorized by Congress to regulate navigable airspace in the U.S. Many aviation experts believe, therefore, that drones extend the FAA's powers all the way down to the tips of the grass in backyards, private woodlands, and farm fields across the country. So where does navigable airspace end and state authority begin? Court decisions are ambiguous, but earlier aviation cases made two things clear. Landowners and states can't prevent flights at high altitudes, but at low altitudes, aviation yields to property rights. Reggie Govan, a former FAA chief counsel, recently noted that drone services will test established aviation doctrines. U.S. v. Cosby, a 1946 Supreme Court decision, is an important case in this legal area. In the 1940s, military planes were flying at low altitude over North Carolina farmland near an airport. Mr. Cosby, a farmer, sued, alleging an uncompensated takings because the low flights made his home unlivable and the constant noise killed his chickens. The court in U.S. v. Cosby ruled out the ancient legal principle that
we'll pause the video there and come back to you and I, Lloyd.
Agreed with Cosby that low flights could be an
what do you think? Where does navigable airspace end?
Well, I mean, as the FAA has it right now, it's, it ends on, they're anything above the top of your foot, really. And, once you're off the ground, that's considered navigable airspace that they have the authority. But to listen to that 1946 case, that they may be using something like that. That's really old, but if the precedence is there, that's what the lawyers are going to use, and they're going to argue that. And we've
So let me
seen
give
that.
you an example. Let me give you an example. If you've got, I don't know, a 20-foot wall around your property, but no ceiling, and someone flies a drone, are they allowed to descend below the top of the wall?
Well, there you go. I would say no, but the way the FAA sees it right at the moment, yes. So it's going to be between this. Now, there are privacy rights that we have here in the States, just like you do in Australia. So that's, it's like he says, the courts right now are ambiguous about it. Yeah, I do know that word. Anyways, but it's going to have to be played out in court. I think it's going to come down between the two of them. And anybody saw Ken's guest last night, she was talking about all these rules are making it into a Charlie Foxtrot.
Okay. Yes. Well, yes. We're not going to have that phrase on here that was on there.
No.
But,
a Charlie Foxtrot, and that's what's coming up. With all these, everybody's making up their own rules. Cities, counties, state. They're doing. Look at how they're doing it with the COVID stuff. I mean, even they can't figure out who can wear a mask, who can't, who shouldn't, who should. Blah blah blah. What are they going to do about drones? They have less clue about it than they do about COVID, and that's not very much, to be honest.
Yeah. Here's my opinion. This is just me. But if you've got a tree or a building or a whatever, drones should not be able to descend below a building, within a certain radius around that. That's what I think is a reasonable interpretation of navigable airspace, because you can't navigate around a building, you're going to crash into it. So
right.
I don't know what that radius is around all of those obstacles should be, but let's use the, 400 feet rule. 400 feet around an obstacle is not FAA controlled airspace if it's private property. Maybe that is the answer, but then it brings the question, and there are people who say they want to go and fly up next to a big tall building, and they go and take off and they're on some property. Who gets to control their ascent when they're taking off from the ground? It's just, it's going to be an interesting one to look at.
Yeah. I mean, as if you're wondering what that white bar is, that's supposed to be, we got a super chat from Metro Drones. There we go.
Metro Drones, thank you for that. Thanks for the super chat, $10. Happy Friday, droners. Greg, Lloyd, howdy. Thanks, Metro.
Yeah,
appreciate
that. Yeah, it's like I said, it's going to be decided in the courts, and until we don't right now, as a hobbyist like myself, I can't fly above 400 feet. Period. End of conversation. I can't go up next to a building and fly 400 feet above it like Part 107 guys can. They changed that rule for the hobbyist. So
okay. Look, it'll be interesting to see where it goes, but let's move on. We've got two more quick stories before we get into our guest. And the first one of those is about China. Secret drone footage and undercover video has exposed the terrifying scale of a Chinese cover-up over its oppression of the country's, and I don't know if I'm saying this right, Uyghur community. Have you heard of the Uyghur community, Lloyd? Is that something you're familiar with?
No, I'm not.
So it's a community of people. It's a community of people which are largely Muslim-believing people. They are, I think there was some connection to different surrounding countries, and they're kind of what I would describe as the Muslim equivalent of the Jewish community. They don't have a specific homeland that they can call this is our land, and they ended up in a number of places, one of which is within China's control. And here you can see the people with zip ties around their hands, blindfolds on their heads, and we're talking about hundreds of people with 2 Chinese armed guards per person, and they're being led onto trains. Now, there's been some speculation in the media that this is to go and literally to force them to go and make, believe it or not, of all things, masks in a labor camp. And on that clip, on that photo that you just saw there for a second ago, let's put that photo back up. This is something that appeared on, I believe it was BBC television. There was an interview with the local ambassador in the UK talking about this video, talking about this topic. And I do encourage you to go and check it out and search through some of the links that we've got in the description for our video today. Go and have a look at it, because it's atrocious what's happening. I don't know that we can do anything about it, but we certainly see that there's a lot of movement in recent times from the US and Australia and other countries in terms of that interface with China. You hadn't heard about this one, Grumps?
I hadn't heard it. No, I hadn't. I hadn't heard about this one. After you started talking about it, I heard a little bit about the group of people, the Uyghur or whatever they're called. But yeah, but it's one of those things that kind of went over my head on that one. I just missed it, and but yeah, China, I mean, what can you do with China? I mean, they're a totalitarian communist government that is going to do what they deem right for their government, and they've been using. I mean, you go all the way back to what Mao did, and the cultural eradication that they did there. The religious eradication. This is just another sign of what China's really like, and thinking we can be friends and shake hands and sit around and sing Kumbaya with them. Nah, I don't think so.
I don't know what the answer is, but it's certainly an atrocity. And the fact that drone technology is being used to identify and capture this, I honestly wish safety to the person who took that footage, because if it was taken on a Chinese manufactured drone, you can be sure that the Chinese government is going back and asking for information from DJI and the other Chinese manufacturers of information of what's the serial number of the aircraft that flew from this location on this date. They're definitely going back and doing that. And I definitely wish safety to those people.
Yeah, and it takes a lot for a person to be able to do that, for them to have the guts to do that, because they know they might be in one of those trains later on, and so I hope they're safe, or they're staying safe, or maybe they got some throwaway drones,
disposable,
like cell phones, disposable drones, like disposable phones,
Okay, one more quick story before we go to our guest, and this one, Flying Pictures has introduced cinematography's most powerful drone called Ultra. The heavy lift drone is capable of a maximum payload of 60 kilograms and a maximum takeoff mass of 110 kilos. The Ultra is dedicated to high-end cinematography applications and can be used as a valid alternative to a helicopter. Now, if I was Ken Heron right about now, I'd be going, oh, big drone.
Yeah,
I'm just imagining.
That's, I think I saw, that's a 3D setup right there. I mean, I didn't know they were still doing 3D, but apparently they are. But, oh my God, that's just an unbelievable camera system,
Absolutely. And, my wife is into photography, and she's looking at it with longing eyes as well. Baby, would you like another drone?
That one she'd probably let you have.
I don't know. I think that's going to have a price tag that's quite significant.
Yeah, probably about $150,000. Maybe not that much.
Yeah.
I don't know though, those cameras like that, because that's a cinematography camera. That's not at least that one was.
Absolutely.
You know, it was what this is what they're using now, because you see it all the time. If you watch any of the new shows on television, you see these shots. You can look at them and say, yeah, that was done with a drone. And the movies, to get those same shots, they used to have to use the boom and all that. This is what they're using now. You know, this is that's an amazing piece of equipment. I don't know why they're out in the middle of a farm field though, but you know, whatever.
Well, they're just probably because their initial flights, they wanted to test it in a place that if something went wrong, that it wasn't going to cause problems.
Yeah. Wow, that is amazing.
But anyway, we'll leave that one there. And as always, we don't necessarily show the full video of everything we do each week here, but there are links to all of the information in the description for our main video, so do check those out. And now it's time, without further ado, to say hello to our special guest, Chris Gebhardt.
I'm a special guest?
You're a special guest. You're a special guest. You're a mate.
Do I get theme music? Do I get my walk-on music or anything?
Hang on.
I got to do everything?
Hang on. If you want something like that, we'll come over here and hang on.
I know you got something in mind.
Oh yeah, he's got something there.
I hope so.
Yeah, look, at short notice, you don't know what it is. Oh, you want that music?
I mean, so it's whatever you like. Well, good day.
Okay. G'day, Chris. I'll tell you what, to my producer, can you play the video clip just so that we can have that music?
Full intro.
So this is actually one of Chris's recent videos that he's had on his channel. And just to share, he does videos about a car park lot.
How about that? Who would have guessed?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I never would have thought that was a thing.
Yeah, I know. So, Chris, this is something that you've done outside of a building where you've got a business that does computer stuff.
Right.
So what is your normal business, first of all?
Okay, well, so we run a enterprise data center. And basically all it is, it's a very boring building full of computer servers, internet connections, air conditioners, and a bunch of backup batteries. And the idea is all of the equipment in there, that's the stuff where your VoIP phone might go, or your website is hosted, or your videos are getting served, whatever the case may be, probably a lot of work stuff. It's got to be online all the time. There is no excuse for downtime. So you have to put it in a facility like that. My job is to run that facility.
And of course, you've got to keep the facility secure and make sure that it's fully accessible at all times. And therefore, you might have surveillance cameras in your parking lot.
There you go. That's the whole reason. I think we've got 60 plus cameras around the building. So we have fairly good coverage inside and out. And obviously, the whole purpose of the... Yeah, go ahead.
Can I just pause there?
Yeah.
What's this?
That we call that Thursday in Deep Ellum. That's kind of how it happens.
You've got a tinkle timer?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, we got the tinkle timer, and if you know the channel, if you're going to tinkle in the parking lot, then we're going to time you, and we're really going for
quality
length
content
of time. Yeah, well, that too. But we really want to emphasize the amount of time and not necessarily the length of the stream. That's not what we're going for.
Okay. Have you investigated getting chemical test kits that you can go and swab and find out the composition? That's going too far, maybe.
I'm really frightened to try that. I don't think anybody wants that. That's like, you don't want to go into a hotel room and turn on the black light. You're better off not knowing.
So, long story short, you've got your tinkle timers, and can we scrub that clip forward a little bit? Can we fast forward that and look for some action? I'll just
This
get
is not
my
action.
producer. Well, there's action there. Keep going, keep going. Bit more. More tinkle timer.
No.
But toe
Now we're
timer.
on the toe timer. Yep. Yeah, so sometimes we throw the toe timer in.
How long it takes to get it out.
Yeah, exactly. From the time that the tow truck shows up to the time the tow truck has the car on the hook and is out of there, we can time that, and you'd be amazed at how fast these guys can work. And keep in mind, I mean, this is including him getting out to take pictures to, in sort of a CYA aspect to make sure that nobody tries to get on his case for damage.
Yeah.
So he's got to do all of that. He's got to do all the hooking up, and then he's out of there. Usually about a minute.
This music that you can hear in the background, and apologies, Chris, you can't hear it probably. Can you hear the music?
I can't.
No, that's a Wirecast bug, but we'll come back to that in a little bit, in a moment.
Wirecast has a bug?
Okay, so the music that everyone else can hear, Chris has got hashtag drumbeats, and this is his thing, right? So that song has become quite famous.
Yeah, that's officially known as the drumbeat song at this point. Although it does have a name. It's called The Hero Steps Up, and it's by a artist named Dougie Wood.
And you found that in the YouTube sound library, and it's become
it's in the
very
YouTube
famous.
audio library. You bet.
Have you ever corresponded with him at all?
I have. I have. Yeah.
And what did he say?
He thought it was pretty thrilling that his music was being used for that. He'd done that piece a number of years ago, and he did a whole little grouping of music that's all in the audio library now over at YouTube. So he was kind of tickled that we were using it and it had become a thing. He never had didn't have any idea.
Of his tunes. Yeah. So what happens? The future revealed in 3, 2, 1.
Silver door indicating the car's previous color.
Boy, I don't even know when this video was anymore.
This was your most recent video that actually had a tow truck in it, because obviously there's not so much towing at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's been completely shut down.
Okay. Look, we'll leave the tow truck there. We'll leave that video there and come back to you in the studio. That's a hint to my producer. There we go. I'm going to kill that music. Look,
Fantastic.
You must have a lot of fun with that.
I do. I genuinely enjoy putting the videos together. Even more than that, I like watching the comment section. So at this point, I'm putting stuff together, and who knows what I'm doing. And every time I think, okay, this is a step too far, they're gonna revolt. They're gonna hate this. Something happens. They tend to enjoy it. So I just keep pushing the boundaries a little bit more.
Yeah. Okay. So from tinkle timers and tow trucks, we go to technical support. So that's what you do in your data center. You're supporting.
That's my real job. Yeah.
Okay. And when you're providing tech support to your customers, what do you define as good support?
Good support is trying to understand where the customer is coming from and ultimately try to get that issue resolved. That's as simple as it can be. Okay.
Now, I ask this question from the perspective of me as a Telestream Wirecast user, and it's no secret to my regular viewers that I've had some frustration. And I wanted to speak to you today, Chris. You've used Wirecast as well.
Sure.
But I wanted to ask you, from the perspective of providing customer support, your opinion on a situation.
Oh boy.
So I've submitted a large number of bugs to Wirecast. They're problems where the product doesn't do what it's supposed to do.
I'm back?
It's back. I believe we're back on air. This is
it back?
We're back. The timing of this is just unbelievable. I wanted to talk about Wirecast and my support woes, and all of a sudden it crashes and freezes.
Yeah, you're really pushing it now.
Yeah. So anyway, let me get back to my story, and I want to get your reaction to it. Submitted a large number of bugs, been going back and forth. Some of them are 2 or 3 years old, and no update, no information, no feedback as to when or if these things will be fixed. Mm-hmm. So at a point you reach some frustration, and every time I see someone else talking about the same bug in their forums, I say, oh, here's when I first reported this bug, and here's the link to my post. I've had no update as to when or if it's going to be fixed. Doing it in a respectful manner, but highlighting my support frustration. And as a result of some of this, Telestream has sent me a letter saying that they don't want to support me as a customer anymore.
Wow. It's surprising, but then again, it's not at all. Yeah. I think we've seen multiple cases where companies respond in this manner. And look, let's be honest. Nobody likes being called on the carpet. Nobody likes being called out for their failings, perceived or real. And the notion of rubbing somebody's nose in it probably doesn't win a lot of friends at the company. But it doesn't sound to me like that's what you're doing. Rather, you've really sort of been almost an ambassador and an unofficial evangelist for Wirecast. So for them to go about that in that manner is surprising.
So here's an interesting statistic. I had a look on their support forum. Their official moderator has a certain number of posts that he's had on the forum, and 7% of them have got thumbs up or likes. Of all of my posts, I've got 18% of my posts with a thumbs up or a like.
Yeah,
I'm doing twice as good as their own support staff, and it's really disappointing.
Sounds like they should hire you.
Way back when, I actually said to them, if you want me to come on board, I'll go and work for you for 3 months free of charge and try and fix this stuff up and make it work better. And if you like me, go and hire me. But they weren't interested. And to answer your question, Agent K, yes, Wirecast fired me as a customer. Speaking of which, the screen that you're looking at right now was frozen due to a bug in Wirecast. It was already cleared on here. It was already finished on here, but there's the second bug of Wirecast today. Chris can't hear the audio. Grumpy can't hear the audio whenever I fade it just that one little notch. But the reason that they give for all of this is all of the things that I'm doing apparently are not normal use cases on YouTube.
So, I just refreshed, Greg, and I'm getting the same thing. It's the spinning circle, and it stops for a second and spins again.
It looks like we're back up here. Boy, yeah, they're really having trouble with this. Right. No, we've abandoned Wirecast in favor of another product, which suits our needs a little bit better.
We won't mention the other product. I'm not here to go and hurt Wirecast, but I honestly, I've got the opinion, and this is my opinion, Wirecast, as far as the potential, is the best product on the market. I look at it and the user interface, the way they've got their layering and all of their configuration, I love that. Box up, you will still speak incomplete sentences. Thank you,
Good
Thunderbird.
news, Greg. Greg, I got good news for you. Titler's working for a change.
Yeah, Titler Live is the other product. It's working, but like I said before, it's freezing on the screen every now and again. So that's a little bit.
Manager there or percent?
In the IT industry, start less and finish more. So when you're doing software development, if you say, I'm going to fix these particular things and not focus on all of this other stuff, and actually say no to someone. If you want to tell your user base or your customer base, no, this is an unsupported feature, then do that. But the problem is when you've got people that you've got 3-year-old bugs and problems that you've reported, or that your customers have reported to you, they have an expectation, and it's a radical expectation that when you report a bug that it gets fixed.
Or at least acknowledged. And it sounds to me like you're not getting the acknowledgement.
Yeah. So anyway, look, here's what I want to do. I want to think about how does this get fixed, and I'm going to propose something radical to my viewers. I'm going to ask everyone who's watching, ask everyone who's currently a YouTuber, go and download a copy of Wirecast and check it out yourself. Play with it. Go and see if you think it works well or if it doesn't work well, whatever it is. And if you think it works well, then tell me. If you think it doesn't work well, then go and tell them, post in their forums or whatever. But I'm saying this from the perspective not of trying to hurt or hinder Wirecast. I honestly wish that they would be successful because I love the platform. I honestly do. And Grumpy,
because for a particular feature that this other software has, and everybody who watches my channel knows what it is. So, and I asked, and of course I went through this whole rigmarole. I had to record and show them exactly what I wanted it to do using the other software, screen record it or screen capture it. Then I sent it to them and showed them, oh yeah, well, we'll be working on that. That was over a year ago. And I asked him the other day, what's the news? You said something would be coming forward, where we stand on that. And their answer was, well, can you give us that ticket number from the original situation and we'll look into it? And that's a year ago. I don't remember what that ticket number was. I've probably turned in 3 or 4 since then. So, that's why I use the other product.
Oops.
Unfortunately, it doesn't work with Macintosh computers.
Yeah, look, the other product, I would use it if it worked with Mac. I've started to have a look at a few other products as well, but here's the challenge for me. I've already invested so much, have a look at a few, my beginning to end kind of stuff I've got down here. Sure. And let me see if I can.
Don't break it. I've
got a control surface that I use over here that I only purchased because it was advertised as being compatible with Wirecast. So I've spent that extra money and I can go and change shots from over here, even though my wife is my regular producer. How do I do this? There we've got side B. So we've been trying to get help with Wirecast that need Greg's help. So that's side B. He's having trouble as well. It's just frustrating. Anyway, I'm not here to rant, but I needed to let some of it out anymore.
Have you been banned?
I've been banned from their forum.
Wow.
Every post that I have gets put into a moderation queue and is manually approved in case I say that this bug was reported 2 years ago. They don't want people to. Can you put that back up again, Grumps, the Elliot thing?
Oh, yeah. Let me find it.
We've got a GoFundMe for Elliot and Nick today, but have a look at that link and do support them. Elliot is 3 years old, I believe, and had a heart transplant, and he okay getting out of that, but he's recently had an infection and had to have some additional stuff, and he's in hospital again. So if anyone wants to chip in a few bucks to help them out, I'm sure Nick and Elliot would very much appreciate that. Sorry for the interruption. I just saw you put the thing on the screen and I wanted to get that out. Okay, now that I've had my...
do you feel better? Do you feel a sense of catharsis? Is a weight off your shoulders?
Look, I don't know what I feel. It's just frustrating that a company would do that in the first place. It just doesn't make sense. Agent K says, welcome to Wirecrash. I mean, the reality is there's multiple channels that are all having this problem, and I just happened to tell them about it repeatedly. That's my mistake.
Sure. Well,
anyway,
I'll be quite honest with you. We've run into a similar situation. I don't think it's any secret. We do a lot of Sunday morning streaming because that's where I volunteer at the church. A whole host of streaming platform providers. So whether that's the software or the provider that takes that stream and broadcasts that out to the various past few months, with all the virus that's going on, since everybody's been shut down, we've been streaming for years and years, but there are a lot of new streamers. So there are a lot of new people getting into this right now as well. And I think we're probably going to be on the precipice of something really interesting. Because I feel like there are those of us who have been in the game, we've been in the industry, and we kind of know what to expect and the bugs that we put up with and kind of some of the stuff that isn't perfect, but we know it's not perfect and we deal with it. And I think as we get this whole new push of people, their expectations are pretty high because and they expect it to be easy to put together. So I'll be really interested to see what happens as a result of that.
Yeah, there's a lot of work that goes into this.
I'm just reading from Daryl Lirad, Hard Drum.
That was
the brand name. Meat pies, kangaroos. Actually, the first word, football, meat pies, kangaroo, and what cars? You Googled.
I didn't.
No, I was watching.
You really didn't.
I didn't.
No, I was
you
watching.
Really didn't.
No, he did not Google it. I've been sitting here watching him in full screen, and he was looking up this direction. Like,
what's more Australian than a hold? Went there though.
Yeah, I can.
Boy, I'm gonna say it's a car. It's a Jeep.
Nope. No. Say
right.
Porsche, or as we say Porsche. So Porsche, Porker. You know.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I was never gonna get that one.
That's what I was hoping. I confused you.
Have you got any more? Or is that it?
Come
on, Grumps, give me 2 for 3.
Yeah,
I need this. Big money, big money.
All right. When in reference to cars or ships, or in reference to, you pick the one of the three you want, and obviously it's going to be car related probably.
Okay, so it's multiple choice?
Yeah, I just threw those in there to confuse. Obviously it's going to be. Remember, everything's been car related.
So
anchor.
what was is an anchor?
Yeah. See there in a minute.
Are those your bagpipes?
Okay. That's his ringtone.
Yes, they were. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Everybody, just take a moment. Lloyd, he'll be right back. He's a little busy right now. I don't know. You're asking what is an anchor?
It's important to us. Please hold. We'll be right back.
Sorry, it was my son calling, so I needed to kind of take it. Yeah, those bagpipes are loud. That's the only thing I can hear. It's the only ringtone I could find that I could actually hear. And I happen to like Scotland the Brave, so yeah.
So, Greg, do you know the answer to the question?
I've forgotten the question after all that. What was the question?
It's something about anchors and cars.
Okay.
Anchors. Yeah, anchors.
What are anchors in the context of cars?
Yeah.
Brakes.
Well, crap. He got 3 out of 4.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Well
done. Look, we've had a bit of fun with that. We're going to move on and get to our last news stories. And Chris, thank you for being with us. If you've got some time, stick in the background because there's something that you need to have a few jokes ready for at the end.
Okay. All right. I'm ready.
That you need to have a few jokes ready for at the end.
Okay. All right. I'm ready. Good.
I'm going to try and be as quick as I can with these. We'll get through them. So back to you, Lloyd. And number 1, we've got some illegal drone stuff. From 2009 to 2011, Usama Hamadi conspired to export drone components to a foreign terrorist organization. Now, this video is just something that was so interesting to see that there is actually that level of tracking on these things. We've just clicked the off and on button because we were buffering again. Oh, we're having one of those days.
Yeah, I think Wirecast is doing it on purpose.
Look, let me be fair and reasonable. This is not Wirecast. This is something in the internet somewhere, and I'm not going to blame them when it's not their fault. But let's go on to our next story instead. So our next story, we're going to go and move on. Drone swarms frequently fly outside for a reason. It's difficult for robotic flyers to navigate in tight spaces without hitting each other. Caltech researchers may have a way for those drones to fly indoors. They've developed a machine learning algorithm, global to local safe autonomy synthesis, it's called, or GLASS. And this lets drone swarms navigate crowded, unmapped environments. The system works by giving each drone a degree of independence that lets it adapt to a changing environment. Instead of relying on existing maps or routes of every other drone in the swarm, the system has each machine learning how to navigate a given space on its own, even as it coordinates with others. So this decentralized model, both you don't put a neural network in charge of primary function, but in terms of ancillary functions, I think I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But this is really, really cool technology. Go and have a look at it. Go and check it out from the links in the description. Really good to have a look at. Next one we've got on the list is something military related, which I know you're into, Lloyd. This is Boeing's new M5 Stingray. It's a refueler drone that might just give America the advantage it needs in the standoff with China. And we spoke about China earlier. This new drone has a long history from its roots in a program aimed at developing unmanned combat aerial vehicles. But the Navy recently made a decision, instead of focusing on combat, to look at extending the fuel range of fighters. So the Navy realized that what they really needed was a way to extend the fuel range of the existing F-35C and the FA-18 Super Hornets. Let's have a look at this new drone.
Commanding takeoff in 3, 2, 1, now.
What we just saw was the MQ.
There's been the argument over Taiwan for years, and that's in that area. So yeah, in reference to that, and I remember, that there's still contention on whether Taiwan is still part of China, or if, and there are allies, so naturally we're going to protect them, and that's why there's a long range area there that they need to have, and refueling with one of those is probably a fantastic idea, because one, you are not endangering a refueler for fighters or any other aircraft up there as a big tanker system with, you got somebody laying there on the, controlling the boom arm. You've got that personnel, you've got the boom operator, you have the pilot, the co-pilot, the load masters, and 4 or 5 lives that you're saving should it get shot down.
Let me just share, I'm just reading from this article. If you find yourself wondering why a drone refueler could be so important to America's defense apparatus, the answer really boils down to China. The United States and China have found themselves in a staring match throughout much of the Pacific, particularly in a large waterway known as the South China Sea. A number of nations, many of whom have cooperative ties with the United States, have legal claims over large parts of this heavily trafficked waterway, but China has continued to use a large naval presence, including its Coast Guard and even maritime militia, to push smaller nations out of their own territorial waters. So that's what I think this, and the title of that one is Drone Go Wee Wee, because of the sounds that it's making. Again, the audio didn't come through. Don't know why, but it's all good. This one, however, the guy was filming the horse with the drone, and all of a sudden he became the target. Let's play that one again, just one more time. Oops.
Oh, that had to hurt. Come back for a second. Had to hurt.
Yeah.
It looks like the horse was going to come back for a second try.
Yeah. Okay, we've got one more clip, which I'll do after what we're about to do, except for the fact that when I change that title and put Chris's name in there, I need to now put that back the way it was so that we can press this button and say, it's time for joking off. It's okay, Chris. It's okay. It's okay.
Oh, I hope so.
So who wants to go first?
Let the guest go first. Let him tell the joke, and I'll see if
I was going to say age before beauty, but that's just me. Oh, does that count?
No.
Does that count?
No.
Oh. Okay.
Okay, we've got 1-1. Chris, your turn.
I don't have to be good.
All right. Let's see. I had a little list here, and this here we go. This is appropriate for anybody who's seen a video from one of my parking lot episodes. Mm-hmm. What happens when you go to the bathroom in France? European. European. Get it? European. Come on, Lloyd. Dude. Help a brother out. European. No.
He's holding it in very well, but my wife is laughing in the background over here.
That is like a well-preserved fart. He's holding it in so well.
Nope.
No, he's still there.
Score check 2-1. Lloyd 2. Chris 1. Lloyd, what do you got?
I just about didn't make that one. A mean crook going downstairs equals a condescending. Condescending. Got it. Okay, it wasn't the best one.
Maybe not so much a joke as a.
It's just an attorney.
Yeah. Humorous. Yeah.
So that's kind of 2-2 at the moment.
All right.
My wife just gave me a phone here, and it's got some jokes in here. Which one am I doing? The top one? The Chinese. I haven't read this, so I haven't proofread it. I'll give you that disclaimer. See who laughs or doesn't laugh. A Chinese lady can't speak.
So he's going to set up this whole base, and the idea is we're going to take off with some space tourism. And one of the things that you have to have is obviously a hotel and a restaurant. And personally, I think all that sounds great. Just no atmosphere.
I was waiting for it. Okay, touche. I give this one to you. Have won all the way across the board tonight, which is good.
It's not. It is a competition.
Yeah. So I'm going to quickly pause and just say I'm having a look over here, and Agent K said he's watching on Twitch instead.
Yeah.
So if you could tell me, is the Twitch one working better? And if so, Chris, it's a route between the data center and the YouTube ingest server that's probably flapping.
Put this on me, huh? All right.
Anyway, look, I've contacted tech support, and we'll take it. Talk.
It's just not right to blame the guest for your problems of a crappy show.
We'll take that under advisement, sir.
Power comes great drone responsibility.
Clearly.
Well, they look responsible.
And
because we get paid to do this, and don't try this at home. This is dangerous, and when you use fireworks, use safety glasses. And me and Henka, we are just going to be stupid.
Sounds good. That sounds fair.
But I think we are going to start with the rocket, and then I'm going to test these big boys.
So just as this plays, and isn't that amazing? Here's the message for you. I've only got a short subsection of everything that they're doing. There's a lot more. Go to the description for our video and check out their channel. For those who may already be subscribers, this is the hydraulic press channel where they normally be subscribers, then squash them and watch what happens.
Yeah.
But on this occasion, they just decided to get a drone and go hunting.
Of course they did.
Only in America.
That was not an American accent.
That's not American.
I beg to differ, but that was a Russian accent if I ever heard it.
I like that guy. That's the guy that always goes Vata and something else.
Yeah.
Okay, not in America, but it was a lot of fun. I want to quickly challenge everyone with a thought. What is right or wrong with doing what was done there? Grumps?
Weaponizing. Yeah, it was weaponizing. Well, if it's in the United States, there's actually rules against using fireworks on a drone.
Yeah. So not encouraging that. From an entertainment perspective, it was interesting and entertaining, but do not try this at home. In the United States, not permitted. From Australia, it's not permitted to have any object to that category. Everyone who's watching, not on YouTube because it's not working, but on Twitch or anywhere else, or on the replay, download a copy of Wirecast. Go to wirecast.com to be born onto the net as a...
This could be you.
To be...
Yeah, good. Any of those people out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Chris, let's put you up just one more time. There we go. Chris, thank you for being with us today. We'll have a talk afterwards about tech support for the route to the YouTube ingest servers.
Here we go.
Thanks, Chris. I'm sure, look, I know your data center well enough to know that it's somewhere else outside. It is a resilient, reliable service. And
well, we'll check it out. We'll see if there's some way we can route around it, or maybe work some magic behind the scenes.
Absolutely. And Grumpy, last words from you.
Host, and I always have fun. I seem to be able to get on when we have the really fun guest. That's what I like. So John gets on when we have the really fun guest. That's what I like. So John gets on when the other guests are on. Because they're more technical minded. But I like the guys that just like to have fun. So I appreciate being allowed to join in on the fun.
Okay.
And the glitching.
It was fun having you. I just remembered, speaking of glitching, I've got to put up a couple of quick community service announcements. If you want to send us a video to include on the show, send it to upload@gregkuhnert.com. If you would like to support us on other social media platforms, it's really easy. It's just @OzByDrone at whichever platform it is. And we're currently on Twitter, Twitch, Periscope, Facebook, DLive, and a couple of others. And lastly, if you want to send us anything physical, send it to 5/127 Princess Highway, Sylvania, New South Wales 2224. And that's all we've got time for. It's been good having you all here today. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now. Sylvania, New South Wales 2224. And that's all we've got time for. It's been good having you all here today.